Hello, my name is Porter Zeringue, and today I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about physics. Physics is a type of science that deals with energy and matter. Also, it deals with how they interact with each other. Sound is a very, very important type of energy that we can hear. Without sound, you would not be able to hear people talking, dogs barking, or even the sounds of people cutting their grass outside, which is something I personally hear a lot. Sound comes from sound waves, which travel from whatever the sound is, like wherever the sound is coming from, to your ears, which allows your brain to process the sound that it's making and therefore understand what is going on. The next subject I want to talk about is light energy. Light is the type of energy we can visually see with our own two eyes. Light is in many objects such as light bulbs, car lights, and even the computer we are working on right now. Without light, it would be very hard to navigate life. Just think about it. Just think if the world was completely dark. How would we even get around? Many crops and animals would die, and probably us too. Light is also very cool because it is how rainbows are formed through white light, which is an awesome phenomenon to look at after the rain has stopped. Heat is another very important type of energy that we can feel in everyday life. Sometimes you can see it, but that is very, very, very rare. We use heat in many ways, such as for hot water and solar panels from the sun. Heat is one of the more common types of energy just because of how often we do use it in everyday life. Heat can also be used to run household appliances, such as your stove, a coffee maker, and your hot water heater, which gives you hot water when you want to take a bath or boil water. Electricity is quite possibly the most important energy in today's life. When we use phones, which is a very common item, which I know we all have them, electricity is constantly moving, letting us use that device. Electricity can also use things such as light bulbs, which also use light and heat energy. This is one of the rare occurrences where all three types of energies can combine to have one common goal, which is light the light bulb. The next topic I'll speak on is force. Force is used in everyday life, such as all of these other topics I'll talk about. Force is used to move things, or sometimes even keep them in place. Some things are harder to move depending on weight and also the other force acting on it. You must have an unbalanced force to move an object, because if both forces are balanced, the object will not move. So one side either has to be weaker or stronger than the other in order for you to use your force to move the object. This topic is about gravity. Gravity is used in everything we do. Right now, the phone I'm recording this on is staying flat on this table because of gravity. Gravity pulls everything to the center of the earth, which allows you to stay flat on the earth and for all the objects around you not to fly up. Gravity is also used if you toss something into the air, such as a ball. The ball will come back down because the gravitational force is pulling it right back to the center of the earth. Without it, like I mentioned, we would all fly around and not be able to stay in one place at all. Gravity is very important and is used daily. Inertia is the idea that either makes an object continue to move or stop completely. Inertia states that an object will not stop moving unless an outside force acts on it, or an object will not move unless an outside force acts on it. You could see inertia in many ways. For example, if you roll a ball into the grass, the friction of the grass and the ball will stop to move after a little while. This is inertia. Also, if the ball is pitched and you hit it, it will move. But if you wouldn't have hit it, but without inertia, it would not move, since the bat or your hand is the outside force acting on that ball to allow it to move. Friction is quite possibly the most used idea in physics. We use friction every day just like all of these other ideas. Without friction, whenever you walk down the road, it would feel like you're sliding on ice because there's nothing to keep your traction from your shoes to the ground. Friction is the idea that two things rub against each other, a pushing force and friction, to keep you steady and not sliding across wherever you're going. You also see friction, once again, if you're playing in the yard. If you throw the ball and it rolls on the grass, it will eventually stop because of friction. The friction between the grass and the ball rub together, causing friction and causing the ball to stop moving. Magnetism is a force by two oppositely charged ends. All objects that use magnetism are called magnets. Look at your refrigerator. Most of you may have a couple of things sticking to that refrigerator. Most of them are used by magnets, which have two opposite ends. So one opposite end is the refrigerator's metal. The other opposite end is the picture or the magnet on it. There's a positive and a negative charge that allow those two items to stick together. In that case, causing magnetism. Finally, we get to the most important step of physics, which is atoms. Atoms make up every single thing you see. The phone that I'm recording on is made up of atoms. You look outside, your house is made up of atoms. The grass is made up of atoms. Atoms are completely forming everything that you see and use. Atoms are the basic form of life, and they will continue to be. Atoms also make up us. That just shows you where atoms are and how they control our life. Without atoms, nothing would exist. That's why they're the most important part of physics and life. Once again, my name is Zeringue, and this was my video on physics.